right.
Then we go to Scott Desnoyers. Yes?
How do you pronounce your last name, sir?
Denoyer.
Denoyer. Okay, so you got it right.
Before I start, I'd like to apologize. I'm going to be reading a letter from my son, and there's some offensive language in it,
Okay.
but it's going to be a quote from him.
Okay, and do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true?
I do.
Okay.
I want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my son's story and my pain with you. Thank you for hearing those who have joined us here today with their own horror stories at the hands of our cruel, corporate-controlled medical rationing system that we call healthcare. I'm here today to tell you what happened to my son, Daniel Denoyer. In the beginning of March this year, Danny came to me looking for help. He had been in a fight with his girlfriend and mother of his child, Hazel. He had to move out of his home, being legal charges resulted from the fight and an order of protection. This complicating visiting Hazel. On top of the legal problems, things snowballed from being arrested. With the fight, he lost his job and had no vehicle, as well as fighting two separate visitation battles for his first son, Daniel. So, of course, as his father, I told him to get his stuff and we'll work things out and get him back on track. Being diagnosed with mild psychosis and depression, Danny was prescribed 3 milligram risperidone. I don't have a PhD, but I know my son, and I could tell you the medication was working. And the time he came to stay with me, he had secured 4 different jobs. He knew he had needed the money for his legal battles, and he was fighting. The last of which he expressed was his dream job, where he was working outside in the sun and even the rain all day. He had reached out to old friends and was being social. He was fighting and having good days mixed with the bads and continuing on in spite of his struggles. Around the 3rd week of March, Danny came in the door, obviously upset. He told us he went to get his medication refilled and learned he had been cut off of his insurance, Fidelis Care, which he has purchased through the New York Exchange as part of the ACA. And it would cost him $250 out of pocket. His exact words that day to me were, "Pops, I know I need this medication." My wife, Ann, and I assured him we would do everything we could to try to come up with the money that he could, and that he should call Fidelis first thing on Monday. Danny called Fidelis after the 1st of April, and he learned he'd missed his $20 payment of a new essential plan he had just switched over to. He had made his payment on the phone that day and was told that his service would resume the next billing cycle on May 1st. A known side effects of abruptly stopping any atypical antipsychotic such as risperidone is suicidal thoughts that typically manifest 2 weeks after stopping the medication when the chemical balance is at its most severe. On April 9th, 6 months and 1 day from today, in my kitchen, I see this, Danny's Facebook post. I just want everyone to know that I love them. I'm saying goodbye. This world wasn't meant for me. Maybe the next life will be better. I superglued my seatbelt shut, double-checked I don't have the strength to open it, and I choose death by drowning. I can't get above this pain. I'm sorry for hurting those who care. This is selfish, I'm sure, but I'm staring at the water for hours now, and I've made my decision. Daniel and Hazel, I'm so fucking sorry. I live 5 minutes from Saratoga Lake. I jumped in my car and raced to the lake hoping to save him, only to find out too late that he was at the Mohawk River. I don't want to be here today. As a matter of my opinion, I don't think many of us do. I don't want the world to see me cry or hurt, but I can't be quiet when such a cold, cruel judgment has been delivered to my son for missing a $20 payment to a corporation that made a 24% growth and reported a $60.1 billion revenue in 2018. In the richest nation in the world, we allow the insurance industry to write laws and deliver them on our lawmakers' desks wrapped in a pretty campaign donation wrapping paper. If we were a just nation that put its people before profits of the oligarchy, if America was a real democracy like our forefathers fought for, then none of us would have to be here today. None of us would be living the hell we are in the hands of billionaires' profits. I'm standing up and demanding that our nation starts to put its people before money. My son's story is not alone as we look around and see so many more behind me. If we had a single-payer universal system such as New York Health Act or Medicare for all, not only would we the people save money, but we would save lives. There is no logical argument against this, other than the oligarchs don't want us to lose money. we as Americans attack our enemies that would kill our children for profit. How much more pain and suffering do we Americans have to show our politicians before they start standing up for us and demanding a single-payer system and remove corporations that from denying us care for their profit? Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Just wanted to, first of all, thank you for sharing all of that with us. I want to ask your permission to use this story whenever I'm faced with a conversation with someone who starts talking about how there needs to be cost control measures built into whatever it is that we create.
I would appreciate it if you did. I've heard so many testimonies before me talking about, well, this person's going to lose money. I don't care. Yes, people need to make money. People need to survive. They don't need to die because they can't afford a $20 payment or because they forgot about a $20 payment. I'll hear people say that Danny missed his payment. I've heard people call me responsible for his death because I should have been more aware of his payments. This is the world that we live in. We're the richest world, and we die sooner and pay more for our health care to die sooner so that somebody else, Santana, the corporation that owns Fidelis, can make money off of my son's death. These laws are put in place on purpose to, I said, he paid his payment on May 1st or April 1st. Why wasn't it reinstated then? Why does he have to wait till the next billing cycle? Because there's a law that was put on top of Joe Biden's desk, written by his chief of staff, which was a lobbyist for the ACA, that said we need to make sure that it waits the next billing cycle so we don't have to pay Daniel's Desnoyers $250 prescription that month. It's a reach? Yeah? No, it's not. It's done on purpose. Thank you. I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm emotional about it.
Obviously, sir. And again, thank you for being here, and thank you for giving me permission. You can make sure that I will be telling your story and your son's story in conversations that I will have going forward. And just
Absolutely.
thank you again for being here, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.